Hey, Sammies. I know that we talk about a lot of things that could be considered triggering, but this week's episode deals specifically with suicide. So we just want to remind you that if you or someone you love is struggling with thoughts of suicide, you can always call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Their number is 1-800-273-8255. It's totally okay to ask for help.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Hello! And welcome to episode
30-something.
3?
Sure.
Maybe?
Let's go with that.
5?
I love it. 33.
4? 7?
The year of Jesus Christ our Lord.
Jesus year.
Because he died at 33. An old man.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone as well.
This is Kim and Kat Stay Alive Maybe. We're a horror movie comedy podcast.
Where we play a game to see if we can stay alive in your favorite horror movies. And we spoil the whole fucking thing.
Woo!
So
I'm Kim.
I'm Ketrin.
Ooh,
wow.
already.
I'm
not going to get a lot of points today.
I am Ketrin, and I am positive of that. I am sure that I am Ketrin.
I'm wondering
if I'm Ketrin.
I feel like we're very much ourselves in this and very open with a lot of our business.
Correct. Yes.
But still sometimes we get some feedback on social media or like we try to get people to like guess certain things about it, like whose is this, whose is that, you know? And like sometimes people write messages like about like why they think it's the wrong answer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm intrigued about that.
What are you referring to specifically?
There's a couple.
Okay.
One we just did that whether or not Ketrin should relate to Carrie more.
Yeah.
And obviously, look, most people were right. It was like 87% yes. So that one's pretty spot on.
Sure.
But someone wrote a message say they voted no, and they were like, no, she's too sweet for that. And I was like,
what? Too sweet.
I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing.
I don't know in my life that I've ever been described as sweet.
Yeah, and not that you're not sweet, because you are, but like I was like,
no one would ever describe me as that.
And also Carrie is sweet, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Is like she's actually very sweet and like nice and gets made fun of, and then burns the fucking
place
house
to
down.
the ground. Yeah.
And I was like, if Ketrin had telekinetic powers, the world would be burning around her.
Literally burning around, like it would just be burning in a moving circle around me and everyone I love, but everyone else would be burning like the Nazis in the Indiana Jones movie.
So I thought that was interesting. I was like, is that not come across through here?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So as I thought about, because I really did some soul searching when that poll came back that 87% of people thought that I should relate more to Carrie, and I was like, what is it about myself that I'm not aware of? Let's really like dive into
this.
It
was a good learning lesson.
Yeah.
And a little self-reflective.
Yeah. So here's what I thought about Carrie. Like when I said like, I don't really relate to her, it was that she was so like mousy in the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that is what I associate Carrie with. Like the idea that she was mousy and then kind of lost her shit. Whereas like I'm constantly on the verge of losing my shit and making everyone aware that I'm constantly on the verge of burning the school down. So I think that was the part where I was like, really? Like I'm not mousy. You know what I mean?
100% not mousy, but like she also was just like made fun of a lot. And like you talk a lot about like your shitty high school days.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. And then
I had a lot of friends in high school for sure, but I did not have any boyfriends at all whatsoever. Was there another one that
there was something else where it was like when we posted who's drinking 27 drinks and someone, I forget like actually what they said, because it was like Kim seems like the innocent one for some reason. Like it was for some reason it was like the drinks they voted you, mine were the 27 drinks, but they were like Kim seems like the innocent one, and I was like
no. Kim and I were definitely on par with each other when we, were both single, first moved here, like in our 20s. We were on par, but Kim was always going to be the one who edged me out, for sure.
Yeah. And in college too. Like I was like, I would say I was always been a little bit further.
You always edged me out, for sure. But it was never like,
we weren't like opposites.
Right. It wasn't like I was the innocent one and you were the bad girl. It was just kind of like, you're always going to win this race. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. So it was something along those lines. And I was like,
I actually do remember that. Yeah, I remember that now too. That's so funny. I know it's so interesting, like the pieces of one's personality that come out in different scenarios. That's so funny. I cannot move from the position I'm currently in case like if the building catches on fire right now, like I'm gonna burn with it. Because for those of you that saw our second postmortem video, you know that,
which would only be our patrons.
Right. No. I'm saying, so the patrons that are listening, if you saw our second postmortem video, then you know that Kim and I did our own jump rope challenge. For those of you that are not patrons, you can sign up to see us do a really sad, embarrassing jump rope challenge.
I wasn't prepared because I didn't know I would be challenged. I thought we already exclaimed that I couldn't do it and left it at that.
But we needed proof, for sure. For those of you that don't know what this is, Kim and I are both boxers, and there's a very specific type of jump roping that you should know how to do to be quicker on your feet. And it looks like the simplest thing that you've ever seen. And it is the hardest thing that one has ever attempted to do.
I can't make it happen.
So it is just so, but I was determined. So I did 20 rounds of jump roping until I got it.
Nope.
And I got it.
You did.
But here's the thing.
Video.
I can't walk.
Yep.
Going from 0 rounds of jump roping to 20 rounds of jump roping, I don't recommend. Then on top of it, I also threw my neck out eating oatmeal.
Wow.
So I am currently immobilized and
feeling cool.
Feeling like a super
cool
young and
person.
Vibrant and healthy and good. So that's where I am. And Kim, where are you today?
I'm leaving for Bali in T-minus 11 hours.
That's so exciting. So. Don't worry, I'm getting all of her flight information so that I can know exactly where she is at all times. And I put a tracker on her phone.
Except that I don't even know where I'm going to be at all times.
But I will. Actually, did you know that there is an app that I'm definitely getting that's Find Your Friends? And you can just know where your friends are at all times.
I think I have it.
Really?
Because it's supposed to be, isn't it like meant for like kind of walking home alone sort of thing? Or I don't know. I have an app that's like
oh, it's not meant for just me sitting on my couch wanting to know where all my friends are?
I mean, maybe it is for that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to join for that reason. I want to turn it on to be like, hey, I'm walking home. Can you just make sure
I'm going to bother you so much. I can't wait when I'm just like,
I get
stopping
to
for
turn
gas,
it
are
off. You weirdo. Stop following me. I need to live my life.
I can't.
I need to have a free spirit.
I can't. You can be free as you want. I just want to watch it. That sounded creepy. I just need to know you're safe and alive.
That's fine.
That's all I got. Do we have any other business that we need to cover?
We have a review.
From whom?
It is from Don Anelli.
Donna Nelly.
Don.
That's a very musical sounding name already.
We actually Don is the best. He runs a Facebook group called the Horror Roundup.
Oh, I love.
If anyone wants to join, you totally should. It's just like having horror discussions. And he's been like so supportive and like sharing our pod like for a pretty long time. Like I don't even know how he came across it from the beginning.
I know,
but
he's one of our.
He's been sharing it like always. Like every week it comes out, he'll like share it, which is so supportive.
I know.
Nice.
You're one of our.
Really appreciate it.
MVPs, Donna Nelly.
Yeah. So here's your song.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Bring it at me.
Ready to go. You make some noise.
You want me to make some noise?
Mm-hmm.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, bow, bow,
on, Natalie.
Thank you
For your review.
What style was that?
I was going for 80s hair, but
I think you nailed it. I did something other than nail it.
Maybe that wasn't what you were doing, but that's what I took from it.
Not entirely sure what I was doing, but we delivered as always.
Well, we really appreciate you, Don. So
We really
thanks so
appreciate you,
much.
Don. Thank you. Do you want to hear about what I did?
Yeah, I do.
What I watched?
What'd you do?
I watched a movie.
Did you? Weird. Was it for a reason?
feel like you today, where like words are just not coming out in the way that I want them to. I did watch a movie.
Welcome to my life. Yeah.
It's rough. I did watch a movie with one of my favorite actresses in it.
Who?
Natalie Dormer, who plays Marjorie
familiar.
on Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she was also in The Tudors. Like that was the first
Yes.
thing that she's in this one.
Cool.
It's called The Forest.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's about, but what I will say is I already have researched this thing that it's about, but I didn't realize what it was because they used the Japanese name for it rather than the name that I know.
Interesting.
And I'm not entirely sure that I would have watched it if I had known immediately what it was, because I try to know as little about something as possible.
Me too. I don't even read the...
I'll read,
thing.
if I read it, I'll read maybe half of the like one line description kind of thing. But mainly I'm just looking at like how many skulls or bones or hearts it has or whatever the fuck. Stars also are a thing.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah.
Knives.
Because this was sure.
Haystacks.
Did you say haystacks?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, all those haystack movies. Haystack theme movies. So it was heavy. Just we all know. And I don't know that we've ever done this before because we talk about a lot of like, you know, unsavory things. They are horror movies after all. But I think I might need to do like a trigger warning.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So
For a thing that you can't mention?
for anyone who has ever...
Maybe we can input it in later.
And yeah,
For the people listening.
Yeah,
but don't give it to me.
Right. I'm going to do we'll do a trigger warning. You will have already heard a trigger warning, and then you'll hear me talking about how we might want to put a trigger warning in. So that's what we'll do. Okay. So first we'll play.
Fuck, now I'm concerned.
It was
Right,
a really
we don't
good.
wanna
It was
talk
a
about
really good movie.
Oh,
just so you
yeah,
know.
That's great.
Okay. So Dead or Alive. First is Sarah, who's played by Nat, and just so you know, I have their real character names because there's not a lot, but I switch back and forth, which I might get confusing. So I'll tell you both names that I use for them because I didn't realize I did that. So Sarah and or Nat. I started writing
I
Natalie.
need you to pick one and stick with it.
Okay, then we'll do Nat.
Whatever feels best.
Yeah, we'll do Nat.
Although I would prefer... Well, let me hear the rest of them. Because
Okay.
Nat makes me think of Natalie Portman because you called her Nat for an
Nat.
entire
Yeah,
episode.
I know. That's okay. So you can choose each character what I will call them.
I deem thee Zada.
Okay, Sarah / Nat is now Sarah. Is she dead or alive?
Alive.
Okay. Jess / twin. She dead or alive?
Is there another twin?
Yes. It's Sarah's twin.
Oh. Twin.
Okay. So we have Sarah and twin. Great. Dead or alive?
I'm going to say dead.
Okay. Aiden / hot reporter / HR. Choose what you would like me to refer to him as.
Let's go hot reporter.
Hot reporter. Okay, great. Dead or alive?
Hot reporter's dead.
Okay. Mishi / guide.
Oh, alive.
Okay. Boyf / Boyf.
Dead.
Okay. Great. All right. Let's take a walk in the forest.
Okay.
Shall we? All right.
I'm nervous.
You should be. So we open on someone running through very deep, dark woods, screaming for help. And it is very dark, so we're only seeing parts of their body as they move through moonlight and the leaves.
Gotcha.
All of a sudden, Sarah wakes up and she's getting up and we see that she's sort of just like getting ready for her day. So she woke up from this nightmare, but doesn't seem particularly upset by it. She just is like, okay, my alarm's going off. Then we see that she's talking to her boyf, and her boyf is like, you know, you really don't have to come. And she's like, no, this is important for your work. Like, I'll be okay. And it turns out she hasn't heard from her twin sister in a while.
Oh, no.
And she's, you know, trying to put on a smiling face at her husband's dinner, but we can tell that she's distracted. She then gets a call after the dinner from the Japanese police. And they tell her that... What?
This just made me think about me traveling.
Oh.
And you getting a call from the Balinese police.
The Balinese police. So they say a missing report has been filed for your sister. However, the last time that she was seen was in the suicide forest. And they use the Japanese word for it, which begins with an A. And I'm not even going to like attempt to say it because it's going to be disrespectful and I don't even want to go there. So it's referred to in English as the suicide forest, but it's got a long Japanese A name. And they said, and honestly, when that is someone's last reported place that they've been seen, we only search for 48 hours because there's really only one reason people stray off the path of the suicide forest.
Right.
That's when we learn that they're not just sisters, they're twins. And so now she's talking to her boyf about the call that she just got. And she's convinced that her twin is okay. And her boyfriend is like, you're constantly bailing her out. Like, she's constantly throwing you into like a tizzy of, you know, what trouble has she gotten into now? And he's like, you can't keep doing this. So Kim, you've just gotten that call. She's done things like this before where she's like gone missing and turned up. What does she decide to do and what do you do? Also knowing that the Japanese police are only going to look for 48 hours.
I mean, I guess she's going to go to Japan.
Okay. And do you? And you can get as specific. So a lot of these questions are very similar in like, what would you do? But like, you can get as specific as you want. Like, it doesn't have to just be a go or not go. Like you can, you know what I mean? Because I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to like stay alive in this.
Okay. I think, well, if my goal is to stay alive, I don't think I'm going.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to let the police do their work.
I mean,
and maybe I know my sister maybe committed suicide.
All right. That's 2 dings. Woo! That will keep you alive.
Sorry, sis.
Yeah. So, all right. So she's like,
start getting ruthless in these things.
I mean, if we're trying to stay alive, not make friends.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if my answers anymore are what I would do in maybe real life because.
But honestly, it's
still,
not.
Would I go like pick up and be like, oh, well, I'm immediately going to Japan. If she did this before and they're still looking.
Right.
I'm go right now.
And that's why I said like, there may be other things that, like, I don't know that it's just go or not go.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So now she does decide to go. So we now see her getting off a plane in Japan with her luggage and she calls her sister and it goes straight to voicemail. So she's walking around Japan, checking into a Japanese hotel. It's just kind of this little montage of her by herself in Japan. She goes to a sushi place and the sushi is like still moving.
Oh my God.
And she's like, can I have one that's like dead?
Oh my God.
And they all just kind of like laugh at her. And so then we see her in her hotel room eating a bag of Japanese chips. And she's looking at birthday videos on Facebook of her and her sister.
Oh, God.
Because they're twins, so they have the same birthday.
Is that what twins have?
Yep, same birthday.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Are they identical? So is it her playing both?
She's playing both, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So she's looking at videos of her sister online, and then she also starts looking up pictures of the suicide forest. And it's rough. Do you know about the suicide forest?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I would need a refresher when it comes to all things.
Yeah. Well,
I immediately black them out.
Right. And it would make sense you block this out. So I don't want to give anything away. So maybe I'll talk about it more. Okay. So now she's asleep in Japan in her hotel room. and she's in a dream. In the dream, she is walking down a very, very dark hallway. A lot of this movie is very dark. Only the suggestion of someone doing something. So it's like I kind of had to get used to that, which is great. It adds to the ambiance. But it's like, is she walking? Is that a person? What's happening?
Right.
So she's walking down a hallway in this dream, and she comes to a door, and it appears to be locked at first. So then she keeps walking a little bit further down the hallway towards another door. And we hear a faint sing-songy children's voice, kind of humming something in the dream. Yeah, it was creepy kids galore, Bernsey. I am telling you. Telling you. So now she is walking down the hallway further towards this sing-songy voice, and she finds the other door. This one is unlocked, and it's got this faint sort of orange glow behind it. She walks into the room, and there is a yellow camping tent in the middle of the room, and there is a silhouette of what we can clearly see as two little girls sitting in the tent. She unzips the tent very slowly, and it is her or her sister as a little girl looking back at her, and she bends to she makes a really scary screamy face that I have to find a picture of, because what you just did was what I did, but there was no way to describe it. It was like her mouth opened so wide it was just like a black void, you know exactly what I'm saying. It was super fucking scary, and I was like, fuck me. And I was watching this alone. Terrible idea.
Yeah, welcome to my fucking life, Ketrin. Go fuck yourself.
It's rough. So the little girl screams, and also her alarm goes off at the same time. So she wakes up. She wakes up real calm, cool, and collected after super fucked up dreams. Like, I was like
she doesn't have them all the time. Maybe.
Yeah, she was like a dream pro for sure. She's now walking through. This is real life daytime. She's walking through the hallway of a Japanese school, and she comes upon a room that has like a name on the door, and it says Miss Jess. So clearly her sister came to Japan to teach English. Oh, okay. And so she's going to her sister's school, and she goes finds her classroom, and she walks up to the classroom and is looking in the doorway to be like, hi. One of the girls looks at her and starts screaming her head off, like screaming as if she saw a ghost. Now we're in the principal's office with the girl who started screaming, Sarah, and the principal. And the principal is like, so-and-so is really, really sorry, but she says she thought you were a Yuri. And she's like, what's a Yuri? And she says, it's a ghost. And she says she thought you were the ghost of Miss Jess because the last place that they saw Miss Jess was in the suicide forest on their class trip.
What?
Don't even get me. We'll get to that in a second. So Sarah explains to her that they're twins, and the principal is talking to her about the suicide forest, and because she's like, you know, why does she think that I'm a ghost? And the principal says, well, in old times, the forest was a place for ubaste, which she describes as a place where when the village surrounding Mount Fuji ran out of food, there was a drought, famine, didn't have enough food, they would lead the elderly, the sick, and the blind there and leave them to die.
Right.
I am so mad about that. Like, I'm just like, just kill them. Like, just do it quick. Like, don't be like, here's your life now of slowly starving to death and knowing your family abandoned you. Like, that just seems like a really inefficient, cruel way to do it. Just fucking kill somebody. So she's like, there's a lot of fucking ghosts there because that's what the forest was fucking for.
Wow.
And Sarah asked the question that we're all wondering is, why the fuck would you take a class trip there?
For sure.
Why would you do that? Why? And the principal is like, it's part of Mount Fuji, and Mount Fuji is a part of our history. Mm-hmm. And just because it's unpleasant doesn't mean it's not important to learn about our history.
Everything, yeah.
And I'm kind of like, let's read about it. We don't need to go there. So,
I mean, we learn about like wars and shit and
I guess you're right.
and things.
I guess I'm having so many feelings about like going to this forest that I'm having trouble separating like my reaction to the forest versus why someone might want to go.
I mean, I think if you learned about it from being a child and their history, you wouldn't have these kinds of feelings.
That's
about
true. Yeah. So she's like, the spirits can't rest there. And then the girl who started screaming starts saying something very urgently to the principal because she doesn't speak English. So she's saying it in Japanese. And the principal translates to Sarah and says, it's not just that they can't rest. They come back angry. Ooh. That was what the girl wanted to impart to her. And so Sarah says, can I see her room? So the principal takes her to her room. It's kind of like I have some friends who taught English in China, I believe, and it's like a very all-encompassing kind of thing. Like they have like a lot of Americans will go over to teach English, and then they kind of all live in like kind of a dormitory type setting and stuff. So she takes her to her room, and Sarah's looking around, and she sees a picture of the two of them as kids, and we already know what they look like because it was the little girl that we saw in the tent. Mm-hmm. And we then cut to a flashback, and it's Sarah and her twin, current age, maybe a few years younger, but like it's Natalie playing her, and they're packing up their dead grandmother's house, and they're just kind of talking and folding up doilies and whatever. And twin says, be careful of that jar. She kept grandpa in it. And
sorry, this is a video she's watching?
It's a flashback.
Oh, it's a flashback.
As she's looking at like the picture of her and her sister.
Okay.
So then that's the only little part that we see of the flashback for now. Now we're back in twin's room, and Sarah picks up a jar of anxiety medicine. She also picks up postcards and maps of the suicide forest. We go back to the flashback, same room, same packing up scene, same scene, just a continuation of it. And they're talking about how, they hadn't seen their grandma for 6 months, and the twin feels really bad about that. And Sarah's kind of like, we didn't abandon her. Like, she gets it. We had to live our own lives, It's not like we bailed and never talked to her again, but they hadn't talked to her for 6 months. And this is where Sarah learns that twin is going to move to Japan. She's peacing out. We are now, she's now left her twin's room, and she's on a train going up the mountain. And she's sitting across from a man on the train who doesn't say anything, but he looks so fucking sad. And so you're just like, cool. Train ride to the suicide forest. Cool. How many people on this fucking train are going to go to the suicide forest and go kill themselves? It was rough, Burns. It was rough. So she gets off the train and she crosses the tracks, and there's ominous music playing. It was really interesting because like there's obviously a train up the mountain, and there are roads on the mountain that are wide enough for 2 cars, but there's no cars. So like it's like there are means to get up and down the mountain, but it's not like there's a lot of traffic, Yeah. And so she gets off the train, and she's just walking up a road with her luggage, just pulling it behind her, forest on either side of her, nobody else around. So like that in and of itself was super ominous. And I'm kind of like, why does she have her luggage?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
It looks like she's now going to be staying in a hotel on the mountain, I think.
Oh, okay.
So she comes to the visitor center, and she walks up to this really sweet lady. You ever just see someone and like they don't really have much to say or do? This is in movies or real life.
100%.
But their energy, and you just want to curl up with a cup of tea with them. That's what this lady was to me.
I was thinking about that actually like last week in the car. Yeah.
What?
Like I was just like, I just love that. It happens at work sometimes, because actually there's some people put that on, like they're trying so hard. Like I appreciate when someone is being nice to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As compared to just like ignoring you.
Yeah.
But
like,
it's
not the same.
Some people are like, what's your name? Da, 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 da. Like it's like too much. And I'm like, you're making me uncomfortable actually by your quote unquote kindness.
Yeah.
And some people don't even have to say anything. They're just
warm
warm
and cozy.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And,
completely.
like, when I had to go to the courthouse, I like tried to be that for that lady because like I know that that's a goddamn those kind of jobs like the DMV and things like that.
Oh
where
my
you're
God.
just, like,
Can you imagine?
because it's people wait. Like I waited in line for maybe an hour or something.
Yeah.
Like you're just standing in a line for so long.
And
it's not even
everyone's
like a
so
sit
mad.
down, call your number sort of thing. Like it's just like you're literally standing in a line.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know so many people come up and are just like,
yeah.
But also like I was tired. Like I didn't have enough energy to really be like to communicate, to say anything to her, you know. But I was like, I'm just really gonna turn my energy up and like send her that and like thank her.
I love
and I
that.
felt like she really got it because by then she was just like, thank you so much.
I'm
I was like,
positive that
"Thank
she
you."
did. Because you're good at sending energy. I get your energy when you send it. Thank you.
Sending it now.
Oh, thanks.
Sending it to all of you.
Thanks. Sometimes I think about how humorous / not humorous it would be if I had to work at a place like the DMV and what kind of customer service I would provide.
Yeah, I don't think that you'd make it. I think
no.
that you would be fired.
I would just be carrying CARR, the movie, carrying everybody all the time.
You would carry it up.
I would carry it up.
out.
So we walk into the visitor center, and something that did not occur to me is that she is a twin. So if somebody has met her twin, people are having a reaction to her that is foreign to her, but she is very familiar to someone else. That blew my mind. I feel like that specific thing never occurred to me. Like when we talk to like Steph and Stacy about being twins, I think about the times when they are playing that game where they know that they look alike and they are using it to their advantage. It never occurred to me that that exact same mix-up could happen to them just any time.
Yeah, it's weird.
The closest thing I ever had to it was my mom and I look so much alike.
Right, me too.
That I had someone come up when I was back in Baltimore. I had someone come up to me that I'd never met before in a CVS. And she goes, "Oh, you're Peggy's daughter." And I was like, "I'm sorry." And she was like, "I've never met you before." And I was like, "I'm aware."
Clearly.
She was like, "But you just look just like her." And I was like,
that's so funny that used to happen with me and my mom too.
It's crazy. I mean, we both are a very high level of looking like our moms. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So back to the visitor center. She walks in and she says to the woman at the warm lady at the desk, "Have you seen my sister? She's me." But she still shows her a picture of her. And I'm like, it's you. And she says she came here on a school trip and disappeared. And the woman behind the desk says, "Yep, we found her."
What?
She's smiling. She's like, "I'll take you to her."
What?
Exactly. Sarah's like, but why?
Who?
How? So she leads her to the door down to so sorry.
Went off. That really scared me.
It's just spam, everybody. It's my 14th spam call of the day.
Robocall.
Yeah. So sorry. So she's standing at the top of the stairs looking down a very creepy set of stairs into a basement. And the lady is walking down ahead of her and Sarah's like, where are we? Why?
Oh, now I'm scared of this very warm lady.
Why are we? Where are we? Why? And
when did he?
And she's like, she looks up and she's like, "Come on." And she's like, "Well, but why are we going?" And she's like, and she just says very warmly, very not creepily, "This is where we keep the bodies when we found them."
Oh no. What?
So Sarah is really stoic. Like, it was a really interesting character choice because this whole time I kept having the reaction of, your sister might be dead. But she is so stoic, but it wasn't in a way that made me feel like she wasn't making a good acting choice.
Right.
It was clearly a character choice, and we learn why later, which is super interesting. So she's freaked out by the basement, but walks down. And the woman says, "We keep them cold here. It's really cold down here. We keep them cold until someone comes to collect them." She says, "But don't worry, someone stays with them the whole time. Otherwise, their bodies scream all night." And she's just saying it like she's a warm little cup of tea telling you about dead bodies.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I mean, if somebody has to lead me to a cold room of bodies, I guess I'd want it to be this lady.
For sure.
I
Good
mean,
for her.
let's, all right, let's do this.
We all have our place in life, and she found hers.
We do. It's leading people to cold, dead bodies and making them feel like she's a cup of tea.
Will scream and turn into ghosts if they're left alone.
Yep. So she takes her into a room with a bunch of bodies covered in sheets.
I'm upset.
Me too. And she's about to take the sheet off of one of them when little warm cup of tea hears someone upstairs. And she says, someone's upstairs. Just wait right here. I'll be back in a second.
No.
So my question is, you have 4 points. I'm going to read all the questions. I'm going to read all the questions to you.
Okay.
Question 2. Point 1 is, does Sarah wait? Question 2 is, what does she do? Question 3 is, do you wait? Question 4 is, what do you do?
Okay, I'm going to say she waits because she seems stoic. Mm-hmm. And I think she pulls the sheet off.
Okay.
I don't wait, and I go back up with warm cup of tea. I just keep drinking my warm cup of tea as much as I can. Oh,
4 points.
Quadruple ding.
Quadrupled. I think that's our first quadruple ding. Way to go.
Wowza.
We need to mark this occasion.
What should we do to celebrate?
Quadruple ding. Woohoo. Maybe I'll make you a little medal for it on social media. A little social media medal.
I accept. I'd like to thank Mishi, her warm energy.
Oh, this isn't Mishi.
Oh.
We haven't met Mishi yet.
I'd like to thank Warm Cup of Tea.
Warm Cup of Tea.
Her warm energy.
Yeah.
And my dead twin sister.
So, Warm Cup of Tea goes back upstairs. Sarah is standing in the room with several bodies covered in sheets. She walks over. She pulls off the sheet and begins to gag like she's going to vomit. Mm-hmm. Runs back upstairs. And she says to Warm Cup of Tea, "It's not her."
What?
And Warm Cup of Tea says, "Good news." So obviously, not to get too graphic, but it was clearly another brunette white girl.
Okay.
And so if you've killed yourself, there are parts of your features that are going to become deformed and less recognizable, especially if you've been hanging from a tree for however long you've been hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
And you'll realize in this forest that based on how the forest is arranged and how big it is, bodies could be a few hours before they're discovered, or they could never be discovered.
Yeah, for sure.
That is the range of time that we're talking about and how big this forest is. We'll learn more about that later. So it makes sense to me that the Warm Cup of Tea sees a brunette white girl looking for her sister and says, "There's a brunette white girl downstairs."
Even without that type of death, the body looks different. Like it just looks like a different person.
Yeah. So Warm Cup of Tea seems genuinely happy and is just like, "Good news." Aww. Her character also really fascinates me. I think I've talked to you about this before, probably not on the podcast, that people who are really comfortable with death, I want to just be in their presence all the time. And I don't mean comfortable with death like Dexter is comfortable with death, or like a
so not a sociopath, psychopath sort of way,
or even someone like it's someone who is comfortable with in a way that makes you feel like warm. Inside. Yeah. My mom is really good at that. I actually call my mom a happy death fairy because she is a great person to hold the hand of someone who is dying or someone who is grieving. Like she's just, if you need a hand to hold, Peggy's is the one you want to hold.
That's
so actually,
sweet.
I actually painted a picture of her as a happy death fairy standing next to a horse, and the horse has just skeleton bones for wings.
Yeah.
And it's like mom with like long gray hair, and she's just holding an unhatched egg in her hands, standing next to like
Sweet.
Yeah. But this is what I think this lady is like a happy death fairy.
Yeah.
I just loved her. So
I feel like our family, I feel like my family is very good at that too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked to you about that too.
Yeah.
We're like,
who's the happy death
unfortunately,
fairy in your family?
like, I think it's because we're Irish Catholic, so
Right.
we're not really like talking about shit.
Right.
So it's not that someone's a happy death fairy. It's that like in general, a funeral tends to be a very fun time. Like I've had to go home for a couple of funerals. There was a couple of years that were like a little bit in a row. I was like going home for some deaths. But like my grandmother's funeral was like, to this day, like I think about it a lot. Like it was one of like the most fun times with my family.
I love that.
I've had.
I love that.
Because it's like, it brought everyone together because she was like our matriarch. And then like, so it was like people from like, because some live in Florida and different things, and like, and then just telling stories about her and like Irish dancing and like all of my mom and her, like my mom is like one of 5 sisters and they all Irish dance together and stuff like that. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
And
That's
my aunts too. Yeah. It's just like, I feel like it's like we're not having a funeral to, like, it's sad. The funeral part is sad, and I cry like a fuck ton because I went to lots of years of therapy to feel my feelings, and I'm an actor.
Course, yeah.
I take classes on feeling my feelings, so
and there's a lot of feelings on those days.
So I bawl my eyes out, and obviously, some other members of the family too. But like, then it's like a party. It's just really fun.
By the way,
I love that.
I've told Eric this, even though he doesn't like talking about it. That if I die and you're around, I only want to party. Like I'm talking like I want to party. I want like beer pong. I want a moon bounce. I want like super fun party time. People can cry, but I also want super fun party time.
What are you dying in soon?
Nobody ever knows. I'm just saying, you got to get this shit out there.
Well, I plan on being old as fuck.
No, that's great.
So
are you saying I can't have a moon bounce even if I'm old as fuck?
I guess, you know what? I'll moon bounce for you when I'm in triple digits.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And then my bones just break and shatter.
This is for you. Oh my god, that would be great. And then you can join me up in
my bones just shatter to pieces.
Just turn to dust. Great. So moon bounce at my funeral. I'll have a moon bounce at your funeral too, whether you want one or not.
I'm never dying, bitch.
All right. So now she's like, so listen, warm cup of tea. Is there someone who can help me search the forest?
Oh, man.
And warm cup of tea says, nope. And also, don't leave the path. And she's like,
I love her.
Yeah. And Sarah is just like, no, I'm going to search the forest. And warm cup of tea is like, you really shouldn't. But like in her sweet little way of going, I can't control what you do, but I can also give you my recommendation. So
I love her.
Sarah goes outside with her luggage, like outside of the just outside the visitor center, to try to use her cell phone because I guess it wasn't working inside, and it's still not working. A girl in her 20s who kind of strikes me as like either she also works at the visitor center or is maybe Warm Cup of Tea's daughter.
Okay.
She's got a much more sort of like lackadaisical young vibe to her. And she's just like, mountains don't have cell service, dummy. She doesn't say dummy, but that's like basically what she said. It was implied. Yeah.
It was in her tone.
And Sarah's like, I'll pay you to help me, basically. Like, do you know the forest? Yeah. And bitch is like, no, I'm not, like, I'm not an idiot. And she's like, do you know why you can't leave the path? Yuri. And Sarah is like, ghosts. Because she's like, I know all about the Yuri. And Warm Cup of Tea's daughter is like, no, they're a little different from ghosts. Because if you have a sadness in your heart,
oh God,
they use it to trick you.
Oh, they're like the things from the Harry Potter. That you love. Dementors.
Yeah. And she's like, they use it to trick you.
No.
And they make you want to die.
No.
It's not great.
Want to go there.
I mean, can you see, I'm watching this by myself. And I'm just like, this. So that line where it's like, if you have a sadness in your heart, they use it to trick you. Like that's the reason I've never done shrooms.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't want to unlock. I would like to keep those sadnesses locked away.
You don't want to be tricked by your
I don't. And it's not like no,
diseases.
I really don't. And it's not like I'm not dealing with them. I'm dealing with my depression, but it's like you don't.
No, but you don't want fucking ghosts
seeping in. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So
I don't think anyone's. I think everyone's on your side.
It's rough, but Sarah's not.
Same way.
Yeah,
come on.
So Sarah's not, and she
Fuck you, Sarah.
basically,
you think you're better than us?
Yes. And
what,
she's
you got
like,
no sadness? Go fuck yourself, Sarah.
Yeah. And so the bitch is like, listen, I'm not trying to tell you your business, but you have sadness. And Sarah's like, thanks, asshole. I'll be at my hotel. So now she's walking down the dark mountain road from the visitor center to her hotel again. And it's like dusk. It's not nighttime. It's like just before nighttime. Mm-hmm. And she hears something and she stops. 6 schoolgirls walk past her, don't acknowledge her. They just walk past her at a normal pace, just crossing the road. And they're kind of in like sailor uniform, schoolgirl uniforms, meaning like they're white with like a little navy blue kind of like tie that kind of hangs down, like that kind of look.
Okay.
Just remember that it's sort of like a Sailor Moon kind of look to it.
That's helpful.
To the uniform. And so she just keeps walking. She arrives at the hotel and there's a hotel bar there. So she, good on you, girl. Up. Yeah. Hit me with that sake. Sake to me. So she sits.
You could see yourself up.
I will. Goodbye. So
you could go ahead and suicide yourself.
I would. I'm getting cold. Don't suicide yourself. I'm heading to the forest. Goodbye. She's sitting at the bar and hot reporter comes up to her.
Hey.
At this point, he's just hot dude. We don't know that he's a reporter.
Okay.
Hot dude comes up and he says, hey, have we met? And she says, shit. Yes, here, 4 days ago. And he goes, oh, no, I'm sorry. We haven't met. That's just a line. Oh, and shit. She goes, oh, shit. I thought I was really hoping that you had met my sister. Oh. And he's like, shit, I'm sorry. That's like, that was way more awkward than I was trying for that to be. And she's like, it's cool. She disappeared and I'm here to look for her. And he's basically like, you're coming to look for your sister in the suicide forest? Like nobody wants to like tell her that it's like, I mean, your sister's dead.
Stop. Yeah, like she's dead.
You know, that's, everyone's kind of dancing around it. But she kind of replies, listen, if she were dead, I would just know it.
I would know. Yeah.
So that's where I kind of figured out the stoicism, that all of these people telling her sister is dead, she has this sureness. Is that a word?
Sounds like one.
It is now. That she knows her twin's not dead. So that's why all these people sort of saying like, your sister's body's downstairs. If she went to the suicide forest, she's dead. She's like, she's not. I just got to find her.
I would know.
Yeah. So he's like, was she suicidal? And she's like, she has her demons. Like, I'm not saying she doesn't have her demons, basically. And he said, well, you know, I mean, some people do walkabouts, you know, like he's kind of trying to be like, maybe she's not dead. Mm-hmm. And he takes her phone and asks the bartender in Japanese, have you seen this girl? And again, I'm like, or you could just point at her. Have you seen this girl? And the bartender says no. So now they're sitting at a table at the bar. Time has passed and they're flirting and drinking at the bar. And he's trying to convince her to not go alone into the woods, into the forest. And she's like, I'm not like trying to go alone, but nobody will come with me. And he's like, all right, listen, I get to go into the forest with a guide. And the reason for that is I'm from Australia, but he doesn't have an Australian accent, but he's from Australia and I'm writing a story about suicide forest. You can come with me because I'll have a guide.
Oh.
But here's the trade-off.
What?
I get to write an article about you.
Done.
About your story. Question 3. Does she agree? And do you agree?
Yes and yes.
You are so far. I think you're 100% so far.
Except for those dead or alive in our fucking
yeah. And you, okay. So she agrees. And she says, she starts going into, you know, more detail where she's like, when something happens to a twin, it's an actual feeling, which I kind of want to talk to Stephanie and Stacey about. I know I've asked Steph that before, but I would love to get her take on this very specifically.
Yeah,
because this is not the first time I'm hearing this, that it's an actual feeling. So she's talking a little bit more about her upbringing and her sister. I thought that it was very clear that he's recording her, but it wasn't, and she appears to have agreed to it. That'll come up later. She's talking about how she and her twin were raised by their grandmother, because when they were maybe 10ish, 5 to 10 years old,
right?
We're watching a flashback of her and her twin sitting on the couch on either side of their grandmother. And she says, our parents both died. And he says, how did they die? And she says, car accident. So as she's telling this story, we are watching what happened and hearing her tell about it. Okay. Yeah. So the two little girls are sitting on either side of her grandmother, and her sister is looking at one of those things that they were like a viewfinder, and you could click and it would like go to a different picture. So she's looking at that.
Love it.
And they hear a crash or something like that. And she says, as they were coming home, a drunk driver hit them as they were coming into the driveway. And we heard the sound, and then we heard a second sound, like 2 crashes. And we got up to see what had happened. Jess was in front, and the way that it is, so they're in a living room, and then to get down to where the garage is, where like the cars would pull in, you go downstairs and it opens up into the garage and then the driveway. So it's like the living room is like on a level right above the garage. And she says, Jess is walking in front, then grandma, and then I'm behind them. And she says, grandma said to close our eyes and rushed us back in. I was behind them and didn't see anything, but Jess saw the whole thing. And we just see a flash of 2 bodies on the ground, but I can't really see anything else. But Jess saw the whole thing, and grandma saw the whole thing. And before Sarah could get a look, grandma covered her eyes and shooed them back upstairs. So she says, I feel guilty about that. And Hot Reporter says, well, did they ever catch the guy? And she says, what guy? And he says, the drunk driver. And she goes, oh, no, never caught him.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we're back in the hotel room, and she calls Boyf on the phone, goes straight to voicemail. And I was like, oh shit, this bitch has a boyfriend. I totally forgot, because Hot Reporter is
flirting it up.
And also hot, hence his name.
Right.
She is clicking on the lights, and this kind of strikes me as not quite a hostel, because it doesn't look like she's sharing a room with anybody, but it looks like more of a communal type hotel situation than like American hotels that we would see, where you have everything that you need within your room.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Not all hostels are sharing rooms. You could have like a room and like share a bathroom kind of thing.
So then, it kind of strikes me that way, but we never really get a good look at the place because everything is very dark. So she's walking down the hallway outside of her room, and the lights are flickering, and they're kind of a greenish light. And everything is sort of like really pretty, like slatted bamboo and things like that, but it casts really strange shadows. And as she's walking down the hallway and the light is sort of flickering, she's walking really slowly. Someone runs at her. It's an old woman sort of reaching for her face for help. Another younger woman comes up behind her and apologizes and says in really broken English, she's very elderly. She's elderly. And rushes her away. Rushes the elderly woman away while they're staying at the hotel next to the suicide forest that they used to take elderly people to die. It was uncomfortable. So now it's the next morning, and she has a voicemail from Boyf. So at first I thought when it went straight to voicemail and Boyf didn't come with her and she's flirting with Hot Reporter, I'm like, does she have a shitty relationship with Boyf? But now there's a voicemail from him, and he's like, listen, don't go into the forest. That sounds like it sucks. I wish you weren't in Japan. If I don't hear back from you, I'm hopping on a plane. Aww. And I was like, okay, so this Boyf is legit. I was reading into something that's not there. Yeah. Now she's having breakfast with Hot Reporter downstairs in the hotel breakfast nook or whatever the fuck. And he is introducing her to his off-book guide. And I say off-book because there are no official guides for the suicide forest. They don't want people going into the fucking suicide forest and straying off the path. They don't want people doing it. So he kind of does this shit under the table. This is Mishi. And the guide is like, listen, lady, don't go. Whether I'm guiding you or not, just don't go. Yeah. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because I'm preparing to go into the forest. And he's like, most people are already dead that have gone into the forest. Also, you're really sad. So once again, say it with me, Kim.
You're gonna die.
Don't go into the forest. And does she heed? And do you heed?
She does go into the forest. I'm getting the sense that she does that.
And how about you, Burns?
I'm not going to go.
What are you going to do instead? I'd like to hear this. Because you actually, your sister, like, you'd like your sister to not be dead. Mm-hmm. So what you going to do?
Okay. I would like to...
Because here's the thing. I don't want you to go into the suicide forest after me. But... I don't want you to not try and find me in the suicide forest. Just so we're clear about that. Okay, great. Like, I'm not going into the suicide forest.
I'm going to put my Find Your Friend tracker on.
There's no cell service, remember?
I'm just kidding. I would like for them to go and maybe bring like a video recorder situation with them.
So you want Hot Reporter and Mishi to go in.
And be my eyes.
Great. And what's the video recorder? What do you want them to do?
Be my eyes.
So you want them to just
record shit.
Okay. All right.
So they're my eyes, and then I get to see it when they get back.
Great.
And then I can make further decisions from there.
Okay. I'm going to give you half. Okay. 1, and this is a half ding. That's half. All right.
And you'll what?
So 1 ding for she does go into the forest.
Okay.
Half a ding for the video idea, because you'll hear why.
Okay.
I feel like you're on the right track and then didn't go quite far enough. So she's heading into the fucking forest like a goddamn idiot. Mishi, the guide, is talking to her about the forest, and he says it's called this, some people call it the Sea of Trees, because if you look at the forest from the top of Mount Fiji, it literally just looks like a green ocean. Weird. That's how big the forest is and how dense the forest is. And he's like, there are entire sections of the forest that have never been explored by man, ever. That's how sort of dense, deep, and huge it is. Mm-hmm. And that is also why a lot of people believe that within the forest there's a gateway to the other side.
Ooh.
Yeah. So all of the lore is kind of coming together here. So they're walking on a path when they come up to one of those chains that says do not enter. So they enter. And I'm like, didn't you read the sign? It is in English and Japanese, so there is no excuse. Everyone in this party could read that as well as I could. But they cross over, and they're not on the path anymore. Hot Reporter then says, hey, do you want to see something crazy? And he pulls out his compass, and it's like an old-timey compass, and it's just spinning. Whoa. And he's like, it doesn't work in here. Weird, huh?
Creepy.
And I'm like, yes. Not so much cool as yet another thing to be terrified of. And everyone's just kind of like, weird how the north doesn't exist in the forest. And I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. I would like to go back and hang out with warm cup of tea because this is not my cup of tea. So the guide says to her, Mishi says to Sarah, listen to me. If you see weird shit in here, it is in your head. Remember that, please. God, hear me. And she's like, got it. Now I'm looking around and it is beautiful. Like it's a beautiful fucking forest. And I want to know if they actually filmed it in the suicide forest, because obviously you can go there. And I'm like, it was gorgeous. She is walking through and she keeps kind of getting weirdly transfixed by things. Like the camera will just kind of like zoom in on a snail and stay there for a really long time. And she'll kind of like snap out of a stupor, you know, and kind of keep walking. So walking, they come upon a person sitting by a tent, a blue tent. And the guide says, stay right here. I'm going to go talk to them. And he says, if you bring a tent, it means you're not sure.
Oh.
So he goes and talks to the person sitting by the tent. And Hot Reporter is standing with Sarah and says, if we don't find her today, what are you going to do? And she says, I'll look tomorrow. He then starts asking her reportery questions like, how does it feel to be here? He asks, has she attempted suicide before? And Sarah says, yes, twice.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, bitch, Sarah, like she's dead. So the guide comes back and says, I think he'll be okay. Which I loved, because it's like, yeah, so many people don't realize that like suicide in a lot of instances, not all, like just requires a pattern interruption, you know? So like if you can be the one to just interrupt someone's pattern, like you might save that person's life.
Yeah.
It's why like suicide prevention hotlines really, really fucking work, because they're pattern interruptions.
Right.
We'll also post about the suicide prevention hotline in our trigger warning, because that's important. And they're great. I have called one before. I am not ashamed to say they are all warm cups of tea there.
Oh, bless their fucking hearts.
Bless their fucking
goddamn warm
heart.
Cup of tea hearts.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. And it's okay to talk about that, everybody, just so you know. I am here to talk about it first so that you can feel more comfortable doing so.
Totes.
Always someone to talk to.
Been there.
Been there.
Sad.
So, walking. They come across some, I wrote rope tape. So what is this? It's like, it's not caution tape, because it doesn't say caution on it, but it's that sort of rubbery, not rubbery kind of tape that's a different color. Okay. And it's strung from tree to tree, and there are several different colors, red, blue.
Okay.
But it's tape. Tape, for lack of a better term. Yeah. And Mishi says people will often put that here and string it from tree to tree, either to find their own way out if they go in,
right,
or so that someone can find their body. So we now see 3 separate paths of tape, different colored tape that different people have put there. And we don't know what's at the end. Hopefully it's nothing, but it's probably a body hanging from a tree. That sucks.
This is
so
real bummer.
Yeah. Comedy podcast. So they follow one of the types of tape, because I get the sense that this guy, like another either self-imposed job or actual job, is to know the forest and go help find bodies.
Yeah.
So they follow one of the pieces of tape, and they're walking, and Sarah says, I mean, it doesn't look like anyone's... There's a body hanging there. And the guide says, I must cut him down now and make a note of where he is for the Rangers. So Hot Reporter and Mishi are helping cut the body down, and they sort of lay it down. And Sarah is standing behind a tree, facing away from it, not wanting to watch what they're doing.
I'm so sad.
I know. So they walk some more and then they decide to rest when they hear a loud screech. Sarah looks around. No one else appears to have heard it.
It's in your head.
Yeah.
It's in your head.
So more walking and we hear someone say, "Help me."
No.
Sarah looks around. What does she do and what do you do?
I'm going to say, did anyone else hear that? Or is that just in my head?
And what does she do?
FYI, I just heard this. It's in my head. If it is, or you hear it, let's talk about it together as a team.
Yeah. So that's what you do. What does she do?
She fucking Sarah. God damn it. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that she does the same. Oh, fuck.
You were correct. She was
God
not.
damn it, Sarah!
Yeah. So what she...
Get it together, Sarah!
Get it together, Sarah! So what's
trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Don't. So she says, "Hey, can we go this way?"
No, you stop it.
I know. And she's kind of like, "I mean, if we're just walking directionless, can we go this way?" And they're kind of like, "Sure, you know."
Fucking monster.
But I'm like, just say I heard something. Did anyone else hear that?
Stop it.
Because at the very least, they could be like, "Yes, I did hear that,"
Yes.
or "No,
Let's go
I
that
didn't."
way, 'cause we're together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or "No, I didn't. Remember that time I told you to be
Right.
aware of things in your
Right.
head?"
I'm
Yeah.
so annoyed.
So Sarah is now calling for Jess, which I'm like, seems kind of pointless,
Right.
but also why not? Like
Sure.
maybe, who knows?
Right.
So it's starting to get dark. And Mishi says, "Okay, we got to go back now. It's getting dark. We're several hours from the trail.
No.
Fuck my life. During the day, you get lost here. At night, you're blind and the temperature drops quickly. So off we go." As they're about to head back, they come upon a tent. It's yellow. It's hers. It's the same tent from the dream. And Sarah says, "It's hers. She's close." No answer. Guide says, "Okay, great. We'll come back tomorrow."
Correct.
What does she do?
No, you stupid fucking bitch.
What do you do?
Stupid bitch. No, she fucking stays in the forest.
Okay.
She stays in the tent.
What is her reason?
That, what if she comes back tonight?
Okay.
I want to be here waiting for her.
And Kim, what do you do?
I fucking do leave and go with the guide.
And
You,
I'm not even leading you. I'm just saying, like, would you do something
I could leave
else?
a note and say, "Twin, I am here. You are me. I am you."
Hi, me. I miss me. You.
So
Follow our Twitter to know what Kim and I are laughing about by ourselves.
only funny to us. Yeah, like maybe leave something there to be like, "Hey, bitch, if you're alive, I'm fucking here. Come to the wherever the fuck I am. Also, we're coming back tomorrow. Don't fucking kill yourself. I love you."
Love
Twin
it.
out.
Twin out. Mic drop. So Sarah says, "Nope, I'm staying. She'll come right back. Her shit is all here."
Stop it.
Now, to be fair, her shit was all there. It looked like
So it really was like,
it really was her tent.
stuff.
It really was her
Okay.
stuff. And the guide is losing his mind. And he's just like, "You can't stay here overnight. This is not a fun camping trip.
No.
There are no s'mores. You must leave."
Oh, I could go for a s'more right now.
There are no s'mores in this forest, Kim.
All right,
You
I'm
got to go
leaving the forest.
somewhere else for s'mores. And he's like, "People see bad things and it makes them do bad things in the fucking daytime, bitch. So imagine what motherfucking Yuri come out of the goddamn woodwork at night." There, whoa, we almost spilled something.
I'm not in. I know, because I'm very upset.
I'm very upset as well. So Nat's like, oh, sorry. Sarah is like, "Nope, I'm staying. Goodbye." Hot reporter begrudgingly is like, fuck. I'm going to stay too.
Oh, shit.
And the guide's like,
Bye.
Okay, bye. He's like, I mean, literally just bye. Don't move, I guess. I'll be back tomorrow.
To collect your dead
idiots.
bodies.
Yeah. And he at least is like,
your suicided bodies.
Yeah. And he's like, can you at least just like not move from here, please? Also, I'm like, yes, really don't move from there, because the whole reason that you're spending the night in the suicide forest is because she's going to come back.
Fucking tent.
Literally, we learned this as toddlers. If you get lost, stay in the same spot. Did you not learn this? So, Hot Reporter and Sarah are making a fire, and they split a Japanese protein bar. And I noted that because there was like a large moment of splitting a Japanese protein bar. So I was like, I guess I need to record this. It doesn't really come up. They made it seem very important. Like I was like, is this a magical protein bar? Is this a poison protein bar?
Was there a brand on it? Was
No.
it an advertisement?
I mean, there was, but it was Japanese, so I couldn't read it. Doesn't appear to come up again, but they really needed me to know that they were going to share a protein bar together. So
It's marketing, baby.
yeah. So Hot Reporter says it's starting it's nighttime. And
I don't want to be in the forest at night.
No, I don't even want to be in like a rangered, well-lit glamping forest at night that much, unless I've had several edibles and many glasses of wine, and they're all the s'mores. And even then,
Which is pretty much what we do on camping.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So he says, you take the tent, I'll stay by the fire so we don't accidentally bone. He didn't say accidentally bone, but that's basically what he's saying, because he was like, to avoid awkward situations. And I was like, that's gentlemanly.
Interesting.
But also, I'm not sleeping in that motherfucking tent alone.
Yeah, no.
That's not a question, but I'd be like, I'm
be like,
cool.
get in here, bro.
Yeah, let's fucking bro it out. And if boning happens, because I'm not sleeping in here alone.
Nope.
So now it's night time.
No.
Because that's what happens in this forest, Kim. 2 nights aren't
like
enough.
The night beyond. Night
It's
night.
a fucking triple night. So so they both hear a distant scream. We know that they both hear it because we see their reaction. But neither of them are like startled. Like they're like, that is a sound I wish I wasn't hearing, but they don't necessarily do anything about it.
Right.
My apologies. It is triple night time, but they haven't quite separated into the tent and fire yet. As she's going, that's when they hear the scream.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So she says to Hot Reporter, listen, I know that she's close and I know that she's alive. And he's like, you keep saying that. Walk me through this. And she's like, I feel it. It's like a low hum or a sound. And the night that she almost died, when she tried to commit suicide before, it sounds like she did die for a period of time. And she says, and I knew it because the sound dropped out. It became silent.
Weird.
And in place of the hum was silence. In place of Jess was silence. Hot Reporter then says, she also talks about how she feels guilty. And the reason she always comes running is because she feels really guilty that Jess is the one who is carrying around that site of her parents, seeing her parents' dead bodies.
She feels like she has to like help carry her.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, she doesn't have anyone to share that experience with, so I'm at least going to come running. Hot Reporter says, I actually get that. He says, I have a little brother, and one time he was being bullied, and I didn't stand up for him in the fight, and he ended up going deaf in his left ear.
Oh my God.
And so now my guilt means that I come running too. So I get it. And Sarah says, yeah, I feel guilty because I chose to close my eyes and she chose to look. So she just feels cowardly and guilty. Now she heads into the tent and she's using her phone flashlight, because even though there's no reception, like the phone, it's an iPhone, back of it is a big flashlight. And she's looking through Jess's stuff in the tent. And she finds a book from their 16th birthday that she had given her. Then Sarah hears a rustling outside the tent. And we see that Hot Reporter is asleep by the fire. And she hears running footsteps that run past her tent. We then see behind her the silhouette of a hand outside the tent. And she jumps. It grabs her, but she turns around and nothing is there. Then she hears a loud, distant screech. She unzips the tent. She looks out, and there are 3 elderly ghost women standing there by the fire, staring at her. When one rushes at her. She braces herself, closes her eyes, because she knows it's in her head. Then she hears more distant screams. She starts to walk out past the fire. She's looking for Hot Reporter or Jess. It's unclear. Like, it's unclear what she sees because we can't see. And she's only using her phone light. And it's like, is Hot Reporter not by the fire anymore?
Right.
Because the old ladies were saying, like, we're just kind of unclear.
Yeah.
But she's using her phone looking for Hot Reporter or Jess. And she hears something. And she says, "Hey, wait!" And starts running in the direction.
Stop it!
Of what she hears. Remember, Kim, can you just remind me?
It's nighttime.
It's triple night.
Triple night.
Yeah.
It's triple night.
She runs into a girl in the same uniform as the 6 girls who walked past her. And the girl says, "Are you Sarah?" And Sarah says, "How do you know my name?" And she says, "Don't trust him." And she says, "Do you know my sister?"
I hate this.
And she says,
I don't want to be here.
"I found her." Oh, you're here, bitch. You're not leaving me.
I'm crying.
And she says, "I found her. She needs your help. Don't trust him."
You're a liar. You're a lying liar who lies.
So little schoolgirl runs off. Kim,
What? What do you want?
does Sarah go after her?
Oh, God.
And
Why?
Kim,
Why does she do that?
do you run into the triple night after the schoolgirl?
To not be here. I don't want to be here.
Kim, you are lost in the triple night woods. You are here. Tell me what you're going to do.
I'm going back. I'm going back to the tent.
Okay. You're going back to the tent. What does Sarah do?
A fucking stupid fucking bitch follows her.
Okay. So she runs after her and she trips and she cuts her hand really bad. Mm-hmm. Here comes Hot Reporter calling for her. "Sarah, Sarah." He finds her. He picks her up and he's like, "Get the motherfuck back to the tent and the fire, bitch. Like, what are you doing?" She does not tell him what the girl said or that she saw a girl, which I'm also like, tell somebody that you are seeing shit so that somebody can fucking pattern interrupt and say, let's think about whether or not there is a schoolgirl in her uniform at night in the middle of a suicide forest just walking around. Let's think about how probable that is, please.
In your head means in your head.
In your head. It means it's not in my head or in the forest. It means it's in your head.
Mean that some things are in your head, like screeches or things, but then this girl is not in your head. In your head means in your head.
All in your head.
So when someone tells you that, that's in your head.
Yeah. So they head back to the fire. Now we hear rumbling thunder. And we see that the sun is starting to come up, but it's that kind of light where it's like, 4 a.m. light, where you're like, the sun's not up, but the sun is like yawning.
Right.
And he says, "Okay, let's go. There's enough light. You need stitches. Let's go." Sarah says she still might come back. And he says, "Listen, bitch, let me tell you something. We're going to go back. You need stitches. We'll tell the authorities." This is really smart. "We'll tell the authorities that you saw a fucking child out here last night contemplating suicide." Because I guess she does. She eventually tells him that she saw someone, but does not tell him what she said. Yeah. he says, we'll tell them that you saw a child out here. They will assume she's contemplating suicide, and they will send out that 48-hour search party.
Right.
While they do that, they may find your sister, because that search party has ended.
Right.
They're not going to look for her for more than 48 hours, but they might look for this chick. And if they find your sister, they're not going to say fucking time's up.
Right.
They're going to bring her back. Also, leave a fucking note. That's what you should have done in the first fucking place. Leave a goddamn note. So they start walking.
How are they planning on getting, what do you mean? Let's go back. Where's back?
Right.
How do I know where back is?
Well,
no one knows.
Hot Reporter has a good idea. So I still say it's too fucking dark to be walking, because it's like, it's still not light. Like it's still darkish.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but even if it was pure daytime, we don't know how to get back.
Exactly. So it's like, even if it's only a single night, like, it's still, just stay where the fuck you, like, she said he's coming back for you. So he says, Hot Reporter says, this is the way we came. We'll hit the path soon. And she says, but we didn't pass a river coming in. And he says, yes, but we can follow the river to civilization because we know where the river ends up. And I was like, that's pretty fucking smart. She looks down at the river.
Do we? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean,
what river is this?
Also, are you even here?
I don't know.
Are you real? Are you
is
even
the river
here?
real?
Yeah.
Are we real? Is real?
So she looks down at
today.
What's with today? So she looks down at the river, and it's not a river where you're like walking right along the banks. It's a river where it's like running through a gorge. So you're about 100 feet up from the river.
Shit.
And she looks down, and there's just a body floating by.
No, I don't want to be here.
And she's like,
I'm too sad for this.
Yeah, and you can't be in the forest if you're sad.
The forest is making me sad. I was perfectly happy before I came into the forest.
Well, now we're in the forest. So she looks down the river, body floats by, and Hot Reporter like pulls her away from the edge and is like, let's keep walking. And he sees the body too, just so you know. Like, he saw it too, lest you think that's not real. Note that the only thing that's real is real dead bodies in this place.
Apparently.
So he starts walking again after he pulls her back from the edge. And she says, what are you doing? She says, you're walking back the way we came. We were walking the other way. And he says, no, we weren't. What? She says, yes, we were walking the other way. And he goes, No, we were following the river down. The river goes down a mountain. We follow the river down. She looks back down at the river. It's flowing the other direction. What the fuck is happening? And she's like, what the fuck is happening? No, I don't want to be here. I'm so upset. So they're walking. She's a few steps behind him, and she's got that look on her face where she's like, I'm suspicious.
Rightfully so.
Right.
About time, bitch.
Right.
I've been suspicious for a long time.
Suspicious, bitch. So then she hears her own voice telling the story of her parents' death. He hears it too and realizes his phone is playing. His recorder is playing by accident. She then says, you recorded that? And he says, yeah, you said I could record it. And she says, you only stayed with me for the story, didn't you? And he's like, partly, yeah.
Yeah.
But also because I was worried about you and your sister. And she says, do you even have a brother? And he goes, yeah. And she says, what's his name? And he says, Mikey. And she says, what ear did he go deaf in? And he says, okay, I don't have a brother.
Fuck.
I was trying to get closer to you for my story, but also I was trying to get close to a pretty girl at a bar. Okay? I don't have a brother. I'm sorry. I lied. And she's like, when did you meet my sister? And he's like, I didn't. And she's like, give me your fucking phone. And he says, you're making me really uncomfortable. And she says, you've been lying to me this whole time. I don't give a fuck if I'm making you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Fuck politeness, say Karen in Georgia. So he gives her his phone and she says, I'm deleting the recordings. Don't, permission revoked. Like if I gave you permission before, I'm revoking my permission. So she's going in to delete the recordings when, what the fuck is this? She finds a picture of her sister on his phone. And he says, give me my phone back. And she's like, what is this? And he says, give me my phone back. He tries to wrestle the phone back from her. As they're wrestling, what does she do? And what do you do?
What's my goal?
Bitch, to not kill yourself. I don't fucking know at this point.
What is she? What do you,
Kim's like, I wouldn't have been in this fucking forest in the first place.
I'm so far out of here.
Yeah. Kim is asleep in the hostel with the warm cup of tea lady hearing a bedtime story.
Sadly, I never met warm cup of tea lady because I'm at home with my boys.
Yeah. Waiting, just planning a funeral for your clearly dead sister. Ordering that Moonbounce. Setting up the beer pong table.
I do love a funeral. So, what does she do as they're wrestling, you said?
Yeah. Also, I've decided I'm starting a funeral Moonbounce business.
Sure, that's going to do
like there's a niche market for it. Okay. What does she do? I will say this because I know that I'm watching it and you can't see it. So at one point, as he's trying to sort of get the phone out of her hand, she kind of wins and is holding the phone by herself on the ground, and he's kind of standing over her.
Okay.
Because he wasn't really trying to hurt her. He was trying to get his phone.
Right.
So just want to make sure you could kind of see that.
Okay. I'm gonna say she throws it over the edge. I don't know.
Okay. And what do you do?
I don't know why, but the point of that would be, I don't know where we're going with this. I'm
so mad. It's so funny.
So upset. I'm like, I don't even know what you're asking me. What does she do while they're wrestling?
This reminds me of me when you were telling me 47 meters down.
I'm not feeling good.
You're feeling sharked and narked.
I definitely feel. What's the word for this one?
It's I feel uried and hurried.
Oh yeah. I have the phone and he's coming at me. Mm-hmm. Kick him in the dick. Kick him in the dick. A demand to know more.
1 point for her because she does in fact throw the phone away from her, and then she runs in the opposite direction of the phone.
Don't do that.
You don't get a point. You'll learn why later.
I hate everything that's happening.
So we hear him calling after her saying you're gonna get lost, and she's lost. All of a sudden she's looking around, lost.
I don't know what I mean.
You know what's so funny? This really is a metaphor for 47 meters down, because remember it's called the sea, the ocean of trees, or the sea forest, or whatever the fuck.
I'm in the sea.
So she's freaking out. She's running around. Someone's there. So she runs more. She feels people behind her. She comes to a place where there are lead ropes everywhere. Remember those colored ropes?
Yeah.
Next to one of the trees, she picks up an old tattered journal with a spool of string with it, like butcher's string. She opens up the journal, and there's like a little pencil next to it. And there's a drawing in the journal of the someone that she just saw out of the corner of her eye.
Oh God, I don't want to be here.
So now
I want to leave the forest.
So now we're back at the tent.
I want to leave the forest. Wait, we are?
No, you and me are.
The camera?
Yeah. You and me are back at the tent. Guess who else?
I'm Sarah right now, so I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah, you're not. I am. I'm back at the tent.
I want to be at the tent.
Guess who else is at the tent?
Fucking hot reporter.
No.
Fucking guide Mishi.
Exactly where he said he was going to be.
Remember when he said, I'm coming back?
Yep. There he is.
Reliable
Mishi. Right there. And can you fucking imagine when he gets to that fucking tent and nobody's there and he's like,
idiots.
You fucking assholes. You idiot assholes. So now we're back with you, with Sarah.
I don't want to be with me. I want to leave.
You have a spool and you have a journal.
Uh-huh.
What does she do?
What? Why?
And what do you do?
All right,
Have two things now.
I'm going to start doing the cord rope thing, I guess.
The Hansel and Gretel leading, tracing my path. Okay. You're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What the fuck? I have a photo. What? I don't understand. See, here's the problem. I'm not sure I understand my goal ever.
To not die. To stay alive. To not suicide yourself.
Her goal. That doesn't seem to be her goal that much.
Yeah, her goal is...
You know what I mean?
I mean, so here's
like
what...
47 meters down, like you always had a goal. Like you're like, what can I do with these things to reach this goal? And I'm always just like, I don't even know the question you're asking
her
me.
goal is to find her sister.
Why are you asking me this?
Her goal is to find her sister.
Okay. I have a journal and I have a ball of string. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm also... Okay.
Oh, so we're covering what she does.
Her and I are both going to be looking through the journal to see if there's maybe any other pictures. Or I don't know what else is in this. What's in this journal? Was that a drawing? A self-portrait? Is that a drawings of multiple people? Is my face in there? I don't know. I'm intrigued. Fuck, I just don't know any other things to utilize these for besides making that rope tape trail situation.
Okay. You get 2 points.
Oh shit.
She uses a rope tape trail.
Good.
And your idea of just investigating further or using the journal, like what I would have said. I gave you a full point. I almost gave you a half a point because I feel like the one thing I would do is start writing notes.
I said that, bitch.
You did say that?
I did.
Okay, great. So
it's
she doesn't.
Recorded.
Okay. So she does not do that. She uses the spool. Now, I guess that's your only option, and that was the purpose of the spool, but it doesn't look like that much fucking spool.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
We're
how far are
hours
we
off
going?
the trail. And when the spool runs out, then what? Kind of thing.
That was kind of my thought behind it all, but I was like, what the fuck else am I doing with this?
So she is walking through the woods with the spool to mark her path. And as she's walking past, Yuri just keep appearing in her peripheral vision. But she doesn't look, and she just keeps saying to herself, don't look. But the Yuri just keeps saying, turn around, Sarah. Turn around. No. Turn around, Sarah. She's like, you're not real. You're not real. And then I wrote, definitely not enough spool. When all of a sudden she turns around and right behind her is a Yuri in a kind of Burpsmap.
What? No!
No! No! A Burpsmap Yuri. Sort of an Uncle Burpsmap, if you will.
Oh!
Well, she does not like coming across Uncle Burpsmap because she turns around and she runs, drops the spool, runs, running, falls into a hole.
Been there.
Been there. That's right. You really have fallen into a hole from running. So now we're back at the visitor center.
Okay.
And guess who's there with a search party?
Warm cup of tea.
Also, Boyf. He got on a plane.
He did it.
And he boifed right out to Japan. Oh. So
I gotta get me a boyf like Boyf.
He is a great boyf. So he's there with a search party, and he's gonna go in and look for her.
I love you, boy, but everyone stop going in the forest.
I know. Well, but here's the thing. He appears to have like hired maybe an actual search party of people
who know the forest.
Yes. And it's not like just, they've got flashlights. They've got sirens. They've got, you know,
they got
each other. They've
a system and a plan.
A system and a plan. Yes. So now we're back in the hole with you.
How deep is the hole?
Oh, it is deep.
Oh, no.
It is. She cannot. Okay.
Haven't been there.
Yeah. So no, it's deep. She has broken something. She has fallen
oh my God.
Several feet.
I'm upset.
And this is a hole that is basically the hole into an underground cave.
Oh, there's a cave?
It's a cave. So it's not like a hole where it's like a well and there you can touch either side of the wall. Mm-hmm. It is like Ariel's cavern underneath the ocean where she like looks up through the hole.
Yeah.
Except we are not mermaids. It's not filled with water. We can't get up to the top.
No.
We're just in a cave. And there are
just let me die. I don't want to try anymore.
There are no who's its and what's its galore. There's just
no
death and Yuri. No, she doesn't have plenty.
But who cares?
She does.
I want more.
It's a big deal. So she is screaming because she's not getting out of there. So just
your own dumb fault, Sarah.
Yeah. So just to recap, in the daytime, on the path, you still might kill yourself. In the daytime, off the path, you're in big trouble. In the day or triple nighttime, you fall into a hole,
you're fucked.
You're fucked. Okay? So she's looking around. She clearly has broken or sprained something on her body, and she's in pain, and she's really, really bummed out to be in this hole.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Luckily, she still has her phone, and so she turns on her phone flashlight, and she starts kind of walking through the cave, and she hears shrieks and howls.
No!
And she trips and drops her phone. She hears
I don't want
a sing-songy voice.
No.
Saying her name.
No.
Sarah.
No, I don't want to be
Sarah. And all of a sudden, Girl from the Woods is right behind her. Schoolgirl from the woods.
Yeah.
And Sarah says, "What are you doing here?" She's not,
She's
Sarah.
not real, you
She's
fucking
in your
stupid
head.
idiot.
And Schoolgirl says, "Just wants to see you.
I hate you.
I'll take you."
Shut the fuck up.
Now, she's got a smile on her face, but you know how we talked about warm cups of tea versus people trying to be warm cups of tea?
Right.
She's trying to be a warm cup of tea, and I don't feel cozy.
It's not warm.
No.
Because she's a lying liar who lies.
Yeah. And so Sarah is following her
No,
deeper
why?
into
Stop
the
it.
darker cave.
Why?
And she says, "What's that noise?" And Schoolgirl says, "An animal." And Sarah says, "Why is she down here?" And Schoolgirl turns to her with a creepy smile and then runs forward deeper into the dark cave. Sarah follows her. And I'm like, "Where is your light?"
I have no sympathy left for you, Sarah.
Yeah. So I'm like, hold your light up. Like, hold it up at least. And she's holding it up when creepy dead girl. It's little dead girl Jess staring at her, and she screams in her face.
What do you mean, little dead girl Jess?
Like the ghost, like what
from
we
the
saw in the
tent.
tent. Yeah.
Okay.
So it freaks Sarah out. She runs back to where the hole is. And she's screaming for help. Hot reporter appears at the top of the hole.
No, he doesn't.
And he says, "Let me find something to throw down." And she's like, "Don't leave me." He does. She starts repeating to herself. This is the first fucking smart thing she's done the whole time. "If you see something bad, it's in your head. If you see something bad, it's in your head."
Yeah, I would have been
If you
doing
see
that
something
from the
bad,
first
it's in your head.
second
The
I was told that
second.
information.
Yeah. On the fucking train, motherfucker.
That's my new mantra. That's my life
If
mantra.
you see something bad, it's in your head. Kim gets like a bill. And she's like, "If you see something bad, it's in your head." So A fly is buzzing around and it lands on something. Sarah walks over to it, picks it up. It's that picture thingy from the flashback. Where you can flip through the pictures.
Right.
She looks through the viewfinder.
Why?
And it's a photo of her and her grandma and Jess sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
The night of the accident.
Makes sense.
Clicks through to the next picture.
Stop it.
She's seeing
Nope.
what Jess was seeing.
Nah.
Each picture
No.
gets closer
Oh, fuck.
and closer to what Jess saw. Screaming face! She drops it. Hot reporter is back with the rope. He pulls her up. Kim, you're out of the whole cave. You're out of the whole cave. He really pulled her up. It was really hot reporter. He really pulled her up.
Wow.
She
That
then
seems
says,
shocking.
Yeah. She then says, hey, Mishi was right. It does make bad things happen. And I'm like, yes, bitch.
I
we
fucking hate
know.
you. I'm mad at her.
I'm really mad too.
I'm so mad at her.
So then hot reporter says, listen, I'm really glad I found you. I found a little ranger station with a radio. A few wherever the fuck we are back. And Sarah says, you just stumbled across that right now. And he says, yes, let's go. And she's super suspicious. He takes a knife out of his bag and he hands it to her. And he says, this is so you'll trust me. You can hold it. So she says she needs to wash off first down by the river. This is a part of the river where she can kind of get to the bank of it. And she takes off the bandage because remember she cut her hand.
Yeah.
So she takes off the bandage and she looks at the wound and it's covered in maggots.
Ah!
The maggots begin to move and crawl
No.
into her wound.
No.
And she sees them wriggling down her wrist under
If you see
the
something bad, it's in your
skin.
head. If you see something bad, it's in your head.
So she looks at her
No,
wrist.
she doesn't. No,
and
she doesn't.
she has this knife.
No, she doesn't. No. No.
Well, Kim,
No. I'm fucking.
Kim, there are maggots in her wrist.
What about your mantra?
She has to get them out,
You see
okay?
something bad, it's in your head.
So she holds the knife to her wrist. Hey, Sarah, where are you? She looks up. She looks back down at her hand.
Idiot, you stupid idiot.
The maggots are gone.
Oh my God, of course they're gone because you see something bad, it's in your fucking head.
Kim, she forgot for a second. So
I want
now-
to leave the forest.
Well, not yet because it's night time again.
No.
And it's about to be night time again.
I don't want to.
So they find this little ramshackle house that really was there.
Okay.
They go in. Hot reporter is trying to get a radio working.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's looking around. And he says, hey, can you give me that knife? I need to try and get this lock open. They're inside. It's like a lock to like some sort of communication device.
Sure.
And it's old as fuck. It's not like this is like somebody was using this place yesterday. It's
Right.
like maybe someone was using it 50 years ago. Who the fuck? So she hesitates giving it to him, but finally does. Now she's walking around the little ramshackle place and she comes upon a locked door and she says, why do you think they lock the basement? And he says,
who cares?
And
What?
he says, why do you think it's a basement?
What do you? Oh.
And she says,
valid.
what else would it be? And he's like, I don't know, a closet?
Yeah.
So he's futzing on one side of the room with the radio.
Uh-huh.
His back is to her. She hears something on the other side of the door.
Stop.
And the something on the other side of the door says, Sarah. And Sarah says, Jess? A note is passed under the door. And it says, is hot reporter there? She writes back, because remember, she had the pen from that journal she found.
Right.
And she writes back and says, yes, passes it back under the door.
Oh my God.
The note comes back.
No.
And it says, he will kill us. Get the key. So he's still fucking with the radio.
You're a fucking liar who lies.
His back is still turned. Kim,
Don't believe you.
what does she do and what do you do?
Well, I don't even know what key we're looking for. The key to open this door? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
And remember,
fucking stupid
her
bitch.
goal is different than yours. Her goal is to find Jess. Your goal is to not be dead.
Right. So she's obviously getting the key and opening this stupid fucking door like a stupid, dumb, stupid, dumb, stupid.
All right. Where's she going to get that key?
I know. Have we talked about a key?
No, we haven't.
It's a new key. She's going to get it from where the keys are.
Okay.
On the keyboard. I don't know. I might need more information because I can't see where I am, but
There's no keyboard. It's not April Fool's.
can I just look around for a key? I don't know. Did the note tell me where a key was?
No.
Is
But
it-
the note, the other thing the note said was he will kill us. So clearly, this note believes that he is responsible for being behind the door.
So, I guess he try to see if he has a key.
Okay.
Confused.
And what do you do? And remember, your goal is to stay alive.
I'm going to write a note that says, "You're a lying liar who lies." And I'm going to send it back. And I'm going to go to Hot Reporter. And I'm going to tell him everything
Ooh.
that I've been seeing and hearing.
Okay. You get 1.5 points. 1.5 points.
Okay.
She forgot her mantra immediately.
I can't.
She picks up something and starts walking towards him. He is trying to offer another power bar, another protein bar.
Would you like another Pure Performance by Instinct Original Power Bar?
Power bar for those times when you need to not commit suicide. So he has put the knife down for a second. So she grabs the knife and she holds it to his throat. And she says,
Stupid.
"Let my sister out.
You're
Give
fucking
me
stupid.
the key." He looks her straight in the eye and he says, "Wake up. Your sister is dead. She's been in here for 5 days." And she says, "Give me the key." And he says, "Okay. The key's in my boot. Let me get it."
What?
She loosens up so that he can reach for the key in his boot, and he lunges at her. They're struggling when
No. Who? What? Huh. No.
she stabbed him.
You stupid. What the fuck?
He's dying.
I'm so upset.
Sarah hears the door open. And she says, "Jess." As Hot Reporter dies, he says, "She's not here." Why? It almost sounded like his inner monologue was like, "She's not here, dude." He dies.
Oh my God.
She looks to the door that's opened a crack. And the light coming through looks like the same kind of light as the light that was coming through at her grandmother's house before they went down to the garage. So she opens the door and she looks down and there's a flight of stairs. And baby Jess is at the bottom of the stairs. Nat goes down and is trying to shield her eyes from what is down there. She looks around and she sees there wasn't a car crash. Those sounds she heard, they didn't really sound like a car crash, did they? She remembers now. It sounded more like gunfire.
No.
It's a murder suicide. Her father is dead on the ground next to her mom's body. And she says, "No, no. When all of a sudden, Zombie Dad gets up and he grabs her by the wrist. And she's like, no, no. And she takes the knife and she's trying to cut his hand away from her wrist.
Stop it!
When all of a sudden she wakes up. She's still in the cabin. Hot reporter is still dead. She looks around. She hears screaming. She runs out of the cabin into the woods.
I mean, honestly, if she makes it out alive, I'm going to fucking kill her.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Because she's dead either way. Because I'm going to murder her.
So she's running through the woods.
What?
Somewhere else in the woods, we see a search party with lights. Boyf is looking for her. Mm-hmm. Guide says, listen, it's triple night. We got to head back. Mm-hmm. And we're like, no. Then we see that Sarah sees the lights from the search party. She's running through the woods and she hears Jess screaming for help. Really. She really hears Jess screaming for help. She's running towards it. It's pitch fucking black. As she's running towards the lights of the search party, she can hear actual Jess. She can see actual lights of the search party. Yeah. When all of a sudden, she's stopped by a little schoolgirl. Cut to the search party. The search party also hears the screaming. The search party is also moving towards her. We hear them hearing her running towards them. Boyf turns around. Kim. What does Sarah do standing in front of the little schoolgirl? And what do you do standing in front of the little schoolgirl and seeing the search party lights up ahead and your sister screams?
She says, take me to my sister.
And what do you do?
Or she still keeps trying to go towards her sister.
Okay.
Regardless. I go to the search party.
Okay. 1 point. So Boyf turns around.
For me or for her? We'll find out.
I'll tell you later. Boyf turns around and he sees someone coming through the woods. He's found her. He's found Jess. It's Jess. She comes running through the woods. Now we're back with Sarah. Sarah did not say, take me to your sister. Sarah did not keep running towards the searchlights. She's actually just in a staring contest with the schoolgirl. Nat looks down because the Yuri looked down and she sees that her wrist is slit. And she has a flashback to cutting her father's Yuri hand away from her wrist. She's bleeding out. Something grabs her ankle. She can't run. It pulls her underground. Now we're with Jess and the search party walking out of the woods. Mishi is there and says, we have to come back tomorrow. Jess is clearly the smarter twin because she says, what choice do we have? And starts to get into the car when she stops. And they say, what? What's wrong? And she said, silence.
Dead. No.
It's silent. So they put Jess in the car and they drive off. Mishi's hanging back and he's looking into the darkness of the woods, camera on his face. He sees something. He's terrified. It's Yuri of Sarah! Credits. Fun times, girl, fun times. Fun times at our funeral moonbounce.
I'm so sad. I'm so upset.
All right, I'm going to let you process this while I count up your points.
Justin, can you believe it's almost time?
Time for what?
The 2019 live stream for The Cure. This is our third year hosting this amazing event with every single cent going toward cancer research.
The Cancer Research Institute funds research into immunotherapy to create a future immune to all forms of cancer.
And this amazing nonprofit organization is rated over 92% by charitynavigator.org and puts 88 cents of every dollar toward cancer research.
Last year, thanks to an amazing team of collaborators, fans, supporters, and listeners, we raised over $5,000 in 30 hours on the air.
And this year, with your help, we're going for our biggest goal yet.
Tune in May 17th to the 19th on twitch.tv/epicfilmguys for 40 hours of amazing content as we try to reach $7,500.
And for more information or to find out how you can become a part of the event, please visit www.livestreamforthecure.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Burns,
What?
this is your best score yet.
Oh my God.
20 out of 24.
Shit!
Holy shit.
Holy fuck!
Yeah. I mean, it's mainly because...
I'm devastated, but I'm happy about that.
But it makes us realize if the character does not have the goal of staying alive,
Yeah,
then we're going to beat them.
that's true.
And we did. But
fuck yes! I didn't get Uried.
no, and in true form, the thing that was your downfall was the Dead or Alive. Because you only got one right.
It was those assholes.
It was Mishi you said was alive, and that was the only one right.
That was devastating. Sounded really good though.
It was really good.
And like scary.
It was really good. It was really scary. But you see why I was like, I don't know that I would have chosen to watch this. Because I had also... So I knew about the Suicide Forest because it's one of those things where like I dive into creepy rabbit holes. Those are the rabbit holes I fall into. And I fell into a rabbit hole about this forest. And I didn't know the stuff about Ubaste or some of the like more stuff that they got into. So I want to find out how much is true of it. But this forest was recently in the news because that motherfucking piece of shit YouTube star Jake Paul.
Thing? Yeah.
He like went in as like a YouTube
piece
stunt.
of shit.
He's an actual piece of shit. Like he's an actual piece of like
garbage
feces that came out of someone's asshole. But that's sort of where like I did a deep dive.
Yeah,
into
I've definitely heard of it like even before that, but again, blacked out. I don't recall the details.
Yeah, but it's an actual suicide forest, and it's actually like so huge that there are places that like there are bodies that are maybe never going to be found, and there are actual ghosts in it.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. And Japanese culture, like suicide is a thing. Like, remember like in theater history when we were learning about seppuku?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's a culture of like honor suicides and things like that.
Right.
I'm not saying the people that went into the forest were honor suicides, but it's just, I'd like to learn more about that.
I'm intrigued by that.
And I want to know if like there really is like a visitor center and like a warm cup of tea there. Because like
I'm betting there's a visitor center maybe, but I don't know
but
if
it's
there's
also
a warm
like,
cup
is
of
there
tea.
a visitor center to the
Right.
suicide
Well,
forest?
like-
You know, like, or is that the visitor center of Mount Fuji?
Yeah,
like
probably.
I want to know more about like how that whole thing
Works.
is.
Yeah.
You know, and like, are people really going on field trips to like, I just need to know all of it. I need to know all about it.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. So it was
sad.
good. Yeah, it was a bummer.
It was good.
It was good. Natalie Dormer was great, obviously.
Yeah.
I could watch her all
really
fucking
good.
day. And she's so hot.
Well,
Since everyone is you know what we should do?
what?
Karen and Georgia do this, and I think it's a really good idea to do this right now for this episode.
I don't have anything. I'm
Yes,
just kidding.
you do. Yes, you do. What is one happy thing that we can end this episode on?
I'm going to Bali tonight.
You're going to Bali. I'm so
Or
excited
I'm
for
not
you.
going to suicide myself.
Yeah, please don't go into the Balinese suicide forest. I would appreciate
I'm going
that.
to go to the opposite of suicide and live my fucking life.
I love it. I love it. Right off the top of my head, my happy thing is, I know it sounds silly, two things. One, I love my therapist.
Yeah, I know.
First
I'm so excited
time
about that.
in my life that I've had a therapist that I feel like is going to stick around, and logistics won't mean that I have to go find another fucking therapist within a matter of months. And she really gets me, and I like her.
I
and
love that.
I was having a tough time in therapy yesterday, and so I needed to describe something in a very specific way, and the only way that I could describe it was by referencing making Harry Potter reference.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew that I was like, do I have to explain do I explain the reference to you? And she was like, nope, you absolutely do not.
Oh, she
was like,
gets it.
Yeah, she was like, I'm a huge fan. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
So then for the
She's
whole
the best therapist of your life.
Yeah. So then for the whole rest of the session, she was able to talk to me about this thing.
Oh, I love it.
That and use Harry Potter
terms.
Oh
my God. This is your dream.
It was fucking so great.
Dream.
And then my other mini one is, this is the one that's kind of silly. I'm really fucking proud of myself for figuring out how to do that boxing jump. I'm like really fucking proud of myself. I mean, I can't walk now because I've never worked my calves that hard before in my life, but I fucking...
You gotta stretch them out, bro.
Oh, I stretched. My body was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you trying to do?
What are you doing? But I'm really proud of myself. I set a goal and I did it.
Well, high fives to you.
Thank you.
I kind of want to share something that I feel scared to share. It's going to start with a bummer, but ends on a high.
Let's hear it.
But just because of the tale we told. And
yeah, let's do it.
We'll be open about it. But there's been like 2 times in my life where I was very suicidal. And like one time actually cut my wrist with a razor and like did it lightly. And like my family doesn't know. Like I was like in high school and... you pretty much need to do it deeply to have it happen. But like, I was like bleeding a little and then I was like terrified that I would die. But I kind of just tourniqueted them and like prayed, put them above my head and prayed I'd wake up in the morning. Good job. I think I could tell that like I wasn't like, it wasn't too deep, but like
it was probably a not that like this isn't serious, but it's also like a cry. It was probably more a cry for help than an actual suicide attempt.
Exactly. Like I just didn't want to be feeling the pain I was feeling anymore and wanted some things to change, but then also didn't want to tell anyone that was happening because I was like, I don't actually want you to take this and turn this into something that then I don't even know what the fuck happens.
And there's a huge stigma.
Yeah. And then in my 20s, I went through a very bad breakup and there was a moment where I was living alone and all of my friends were in relationships and I didn't have a job. Literally all I had was the only appointment I had ever for an entire week would have been going to therapy. And I was like, after I left therapy one week, I was like, I have an entire week where no one expects to hear from me. Not a single human. And I was like, my friends would obviously try to reach out, but like it'd still be a couple days before they like came a knocking.
And I remember that time because there would have been...
It was bad.
And it also would have been... There were times when you were in that dark place where I did reach out and it would be a few days before you got back to me.
Yeah.
So if it took you a few days to get back to me...
It would be normal.
It would be normal. Yeah.
And like, I'm very grateful for like having my grandmother at the time because she was one of the reasons that like, I was like, I can't do that to her. Like, I was like, she is in her 90s. She helped raise me. I'm her baby. Like, and she's the most important person in this world to me. We're so connected. And I was like, this would devastate her. And I was like, it literally, like, it's maybe the only reason that saved me. But moral of the story is like, I could not see out of that darkness in those moments, but like, I can't, like, my life is so great now.
You couldn't have even imagined how great.
Like my life is so great now and I'm so happy. I'm going to fucking Bali tonight.
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful. And it's like when they say it gets better, like it fucking does.
Yep. Why
like
do you think
really
I have
fucking does.
This too shall pass on my arm? It's for moments like that where you cannot understand that it will pass. You are physically incapable of understanding that it will pass. The chemicals in your brain are not allowing you to have that thought.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
No.
It's
not.
The lizard part of your brain that is supposed to tell you to survive
It's
at
just
all
like,
costs
this is forever.
Misfiring. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like this feeling is forever and that feels unbearable. So you're like, I want to die when it's end.
So the phrase people think
that is wrong.
Yeah. And people think that it's morbid to say this too shall pass because it's, or not everyone. I think you get why this too shall pass.
Yeah.
But there are some people where they're like, this too shall pass. That's so, sad because that means the good passes too. And I'm like, no, it just means that it'll pass. Like,
yeah.
For the good moments, be grateful for the good moments, but also remember that they will pass. And most importantly, so will the bad.
Exactly.
And it's like, I got it permanently tattooed on my body for that reason.
And one of my mantras of life recently is like, the best is yet to come. And that is for bad moments.
Yeah.
And for good moments, like in that same way where it's like, you could be having literally like, this is the greatest moment of my life and the best is still yet to come. So it's like knowing that that's like, there's just more and more good to come.
Yeah.
Even when you're down too.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, like, just tell your brain that you're a lying liar who lies.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a lying liar who lies, and I'm leaving the fucking forest. I'm leaving the forest because Bali is ahead. It does get better.
Yeah. So we will post some stuff about it got heavy, guys, but sometimes it has to get heavy. So we will post about suicide hotlines.
For
and remember,
sure.
you know, reach out and talk to somebody. You just need to interrupt the pattern. Just interrupt the pattern and remember this too
that's good advice.
Shall pass. This
Until Kim and Kat stay alive, maybe?
but we're staying alive, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we fucking are.
So until next time,
Stay
alive and out of the
fucking
suicide forest. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Put a ghost in me.
I'm done.